You
Showtime.
got it.
Guys, welcome on Facebook and welcome on Periscope. Get your questions ready for Lucas. He'll be at our interview later tonight. Tonight on our Below Deck segment, our Below Deck segment producer Lucas joins us live, and we get to talk to him about the onboard life on board the ships. Also, our photo of the week is picked from the RC Periscopers Facebook group, and I delve into more history of cruising, and we look at this week's top cruising news and help you guys make the best decision for your first or next cruise. So stay tuned because this is Cruise Week TV Live. Our show this week is brought to you by the folks at Good Memories Travel and by vMix. Hey everyone, I'm Joe, and with our live show every Saturday, we aim to help answer your cruise questions, talk to people associated with the cruise industry, bring you news and fun tips and tricks to make your cruise even better. This week I get to talk to someone who you may have seen many times on our show, but never live. It's comedian Lucas Bohn. He records and sends us segments each week from Life Below Decks, and we decided it's about time to actually have him on the show face to face. So this week we have him here as our guest, but before we get to Lucas, let's take a look first at our photo of the week. We decided that there's many fun photos from the RC Periscopers group, and we would snag another one this week. So this one here is Rich Triplett, and here he is with a camera that it looks like it's a camera that's bigger than anything that Bird has. And I just know Bird's probably looking at this in the other room right now, and he's getting jealous of that picture. Rich was having a blast on that ship while playing with some of the professional cameras. And remember, cruisers, we feature a different Facebook group each week to appear on the show. So be sure to put your best cruise photos in the Facebook groups. And next week, it could be you on our show. So now, why do we use a travel agent over booking directly with the cruise line? Well, personal service for one, and cash credit back is another. And you can actually cruise for cheaper. So whatever cruise you're planning to go on, give Good Memories Travel a call. You get the same great rates as you would booking yourself. Plus, you may even get an onboard credit or a customer reward. Yes, they actually give you money to go cruise with. They enjoy planning and helping you guys with weddings and honeymoons. Good Memories Travel specializes in handling every aspect of your group cruise, family getaway, or that family reunion that you've been wanting to plan. Imagine letting someone else do all the work while you get to relax. In fact, Debbie is handling our group cruise on the horizon in 2019. But they don't just handle cruises for Carnival. They also book cruises for all cruise lines like Carnival, Royal, MSC, Norwegian, and more all over the world. They're your one-stop place for everything when you're planning a cruise. Call Debbie for a free no obligation quote on your next cruise. What have you got to lose? Debbie can be reached at 321-338-2953, or of course through their website at goodmemoriestravel.com, and let them know you heard about them right here on Cruise Week TV. So Lucas Bohn has been on the comedian cruise circuit for several years, and he has his own YouTube channel where he posts video of life below decks. A few months ago, he teamed up with us to bring us fun interviews with the crew and snippets of all the lives of the people who help make your vacations as memorable as possible. Tonight, we get to talk to him in person, and you guys get to ask him your questions. Lucas, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going? Happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. So, Lucas, what's been going on? Like the past few months, have you been on one of the cruise? Which ship have you been on?
Oh man, the past couple months, the beginning of the summer, I started on the Norwegian Pearl. I did an Alaskan cruise. Before that, I was on the Norwegian Sun, which was also an Alaskan cruise. Then in the middle of July, I transitioned back to the Caribbean, and I did a Royal Caribbean, the Majesty of the Seas, and that's a Bahamas and their private island run, 3-day, 4-day cruise. Did that for a couple weeks. And then I just got off of the Norwegian Escape, which before the hurricane was an Eastern cruise. Eastern Caribbean cruise. And I think now is kind of a mashup of like a Western Caribbean with certain ports taken out and substituted in with certain Eastern Caribbean cruises. So yeah, the hurricane kind of threw a mix-up into some of the ports there. But yeah, I was on the Escape for 2 weeks in September.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Prior to getting on cruise ships, how did you get into comedy? And then how did you eventually start getting into cruise ships?
Right, that's a really great question. So I started doing stand-up comedy in college. I went to a small school in, well, it was small at the time, Coastal Carolina University in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We didn't have a football team, so on the weekends everyone would leave and they would go to Clemson. Well, I was literally left alone in my dorm all weekend long. And one day I had a friend say, "Do you want to go to a comedy club?" She had a car, and I said, "Absolutely. Anything just to get out of this empty, room that I was staying in." And so went to a comedy club, and I loved it. I loved stand up comedy. I loved laughing and live entertainment. And so I took a class and a class on comedy writing. And the owner of the club, Jeff of the Comedy Cabana in Myrtle Beach, saw that I had some natural talent, and he said, "Why don't you come and host a show?" So I became the house MC or the host of the Comedy Cabana for about a year and a half, and then I graduated and I started teaching elementary school in Northern Virginia and taught for 6 years, and then left teaching in 2010 and to do comedy full time. And in 2013, I did my first cruise. And I'm going to be honest with you, cruising at that time didn't have a really great reputation. And so I didn't think I was going to like it. I thought it was where most comedians and entertainers went when their career was about to die. And I did it, and I absolutely loved it. I was pleasantly surprised. There was a high caliber of expectations for the show. The sound was good, the lighting was great. They paid for my flights there and back, and I loved it. I loved traveling. I loved the audiences. I loved the energy that cruises have. Also, you're not people now go to a comedy club and they pull out their phone in the middle of I love cruising because you're kind of isolated. If you go to a show, you can't rip out your phone and get on Facebook the whole show. So I kind of liked how they were there and they were listening. So yeah, I started off with celebrity. I did a couple celebrity cruises, and then I transitioned into Carnival. Worked for Carnival for about 2 years, and then got my first Royal Caribbean contract. And I still do Royal Caribbean, and I started working for Norwegian in 2014. So now I do primarily Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival. Yeah.
So how many contracts have you done with cruise ships so far?
Ooh, over my career, I've probably done over 100. Yeah. So sometimes a contract, depending on the cruise, will be 3 days. Sometimes the contract will be 4 days. Sometimes it'll be a week. Sometimes the contract is two 1 week contracts. So you're on the ship for 2 weeks, but you do a week at a time, which is considered a contract. Sometimes you're on for 10 days and you do a 3 day, a 4 day, and a 3 day. Those are considered three separate contracts because they're three separate cruises. So that's normally how they break it up.
So overall, what do you find that's different about working in on a cruise ship? What do you find that's different working on a cruise ship than you do working in a comedy club on land?
So I would say the first thing that you'll notice right away is that um, on a cruise ship, I think there's a higher level of talent for the most part. You're not going to get people like a host or a feature that isn't good. Normally, there's a very strict vetting process to get entertainers on a ship. So if you're a singer or a dancer or a comedian, people have auditioned you thoroughly before you set foot on their stage because you are a reflection of the company. So they're not going to let any old Joe Schmo on stage. Whereas with comedy clubs on land, I've had some experiences where I was headlining and I didn't know the feature or the host, and they were just terrible. And if you have a terrible host or a terrible feature act, they can really ruin a show because people get upset, they get angry, sometimes they walk out and leave. So the main thing I would say is that the people that you see performing on ships, for the most part, are very, very talented. They are a high caliber of entertainer, and you're not normally, I mean, you can never say 100%, but normally you're going to see an awesome show that is going to be fun and memorable for everybody. The second thing I would say is that the content, it's going to be for the most part cleaner content than you would see in a comedy club. I worked comedy clubs. I still work comedy clubs. You can say whatever you want in a comedy club. As far as vulgarities, you can push race or ethnic, the card, of race or ethnic card. On a cruise ship, you're not going to have that. You're going to have comedians that do material that is appropriate for a wider audience. There's going to be kids in the audience. They're going to have to be cleaner and more cleverer, I guess, than most club acts. And again, I still work clubs, so I love walking into a club and knowing that I can say whatever I want and no one's going to get mad. But for the most part, on a cruise ship, you have to be cleaner and you have to have material that is going to appeal to a wider audience.
So, do you find that that is a little bit more difficult to have to clean up? Or did you never have like maybe a problem with cleaning up any vulgarity, or do you find it's a little bit more difficult to do that for the work on a cruise? Just out of my own curiosity.
Yeah. So the first time I did a celebrity cruise, I was losing my mind because I came from a college background, which means I did a lot of colleges and clubs. And so when they say clean, they just mean no four-letter words. However, on the celebrity ship I was on, it was a higher class of clientele, and they did not want any what they called lowbrow humor. And so I didn't know exactly what that meant. And so I was, getting really nervous and whatnot. And I called a fellow comedian friend of mine that works ships, and he just said, "Look, uh, here's how you make your life easy. From now on, try to only write clean jokes because it's a whole lot easier to take a clean joke and make it dirty than it is to take a dirty joke and make it clean." And so early on in my career, I would say, yeah, it was a challenge because it's easier to get a laugh when you're dirty. But now, 9 times out of 10, when I write a joke, it's a clean joke just because I get paid more money to write clean jokes, and I'm not a filthy human being. I don't use a ton of vulgarities in my everyday language, and I just, it's a kind of a reflection of who I am as a person. So, um, I would say early on I was nervous, but once you do it a couple times, you figure it out rather quickly. I hate to use the analogy sink or swim on a cruise TV show, but you kind of do. You sink or swim, and if you can't do it, you leave. You don't do it, and if you can do it, you survive and you adapt and you create content that is universally appreciated. And when I say content, I mean clean material. And again, I do an adult show, which has adult content in it. But again, not every ship is going to ask for an adult show. So you just have to know that most of the time you will be doing clean, family friendly material.
Oh goodness! You see, you said sink or swim, and I had Titanic music playing in my head ever since. Uh,
Yeah.
so now we have a question that came in from Facebook. This one comes from Tommy Woods. He just wants to know what your favorite ship is.
So it's a weird combination of when people say, "What's your favorite ship?" Because it's a loaded question. A lot of entertainers will tell you they base the ship on solely their favorite ship solely on the itinerary, and normally their favorite ship is the itinerary that has the most U.S. ports so that they can use their cell phone and have free internet. So like Puerto Rico is a big one. St. Thomas is a great destination. The Florida Keys is key for most people. I know comedians that they go, I don't care where I go, I don't care how big or small the ship is, I don't care what the audiences are like. If I can use my phone 2 days out of a week, it's my favorite cruise because I don't have to hunt Wi-Fi down. I don't have to buy Wi-Fi. I don't have to, I can call my family. I would say for me, I love going to Roatan Island, Honduras. So I like the escape and the getaway. just because they go to Roatan, and I'm a big snorkeler, and Roatan is a huge barrier reef. So you can literally walk off the beach, swim 25 yards, and you are on a pristine, untouched reef. So any ship, the Escape, the Getaway. I know some the Carnival Glory used to go there. I don't know if it still does, but any of the ships that go to Roatan Island, I love it.
Awesome. So now tell me, if have you ever thought about like what would you be doing if you weren't a comedian?
Oh man. Well, I was a school teacher for 6 years, and I have the utmost respect for educators of all kinds. It takes a special human being to work with children and to get paid what educators are paid, to do the long hours and the high expectations that they have. I would like to tell you that I would still be an educator, um, but I am not good at politics. Um, and when people ask me a question and they say, "What do you think?" I'm one of those people that actually tells you what I think. And I learned very quickly that when your boss asks, "What do you think?" he doesn't actually care what you think. He wants you to agree with what he said, as kind of like a backup. And I was not that person. And that is a fault of mine. So I would like to think I'd be a teacher. I probably wouldn't. I I'm a born salesman. I love negotiating and things like that. I live right outside. We have a house right outside of Washington D.C. I would probably go into the DoD defense, something like that, to where I got to sell missiles to somebody. I don't know. I'd be one of those guys with a BMW and a slick suit. One of those jerks on 267 that has a way expensive car. And I mean, I love I never thought I'd be a performer. So yeah, I have no idea really. I've had two careers in my life, and this is the one that I love the most. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe a male dancer. I don't know. Maybe I would go to the gym and I would bulk up and I would get ripped. I would get swole up. Why are you laughing? The fact that and you
Because
put the
I used to
vampire
do that.
photo up. Great. You put the vampire photo. Okay, thank you. You switched it. You put the one of me. I look like I'm fighting for Team Edward. Now, great. You're showing my bird chest. Thanks a lot. Not only did I say I needed to, and there's a bunch of me holding a mic. Yeah, so I would
Excuse
definitely
me.
have to go to the gym and bulk up before I became a male dancer. But yeah, no, I would. I have literally no idea what I would do.
We had another question come in. This one from Vincent Swerley. He wants to know: did you work with a cruise director turned comedian, Jorge Solano?
George Solano. Yes, I have worked with George Solano before. He was a cruise director on Carnival for a while, and then he actually was one of the people when George Lopez was in charge of the Punchliner. George was one of his right hand men. He was like a brand manager, so to speak, for the company. And then when the Punchliner pulled out, George went back to being he was always a stand up. But he went back to doing stand up for Carnival full time. But yeah, I like George. George, he's got some of what I would call the cruise director jokes. Some of the top 10 lists, like how does the ship generate electricity? We run an extension cord back to Miami. Ha ha ha. I mean, those are like the same jokes that were in the 80s, and like George still tells them. But he does it probably because it's like an homage to when he was a cruise director. I can name you 10 cruise directors that tell those same jokes. Does the crew sleep on board? No, we send them home on jet skis at night. I mean, it's uh, so yeah. I've worked with George before. I like him a lot. He met his wife on a ship. So yeah, good guy, funny guy.
So now, I know we have to wrap. Like, we got to wrap this up at some point because I know you have a something else that you got to do tonight. You got to get ready for that. But I do want to talk a bit before, like, about your YouTube channel. So when
Yeah.
did you decide to start your YouTube channel, and when did you like decide that that's what like you wanted to show the content of the ships and the lives of people who make everyone's vacation so memorable?
Absolutely. The number one question I always get from people, nobody ever wants to know about me or about comedians. They always want to know about the cruise director and they want to know about the performers in the production shows. So the number one questions I always got were, how do you get a job as a singer or a dancer on a cruise ship? Or how do you get a job as a cruise director? Do you go to and of course I was neither one of those things. So I would answer it the best way that I could. And I found that a lot of people that cruise, they have questions about how the whole ship runs. So I thought one day, you know what? I bet people would be interested if I was to just interview one or two people or a restaurant or a port or an excursion, and then just post it and give my 2 cents, my review of what I thought or interview of that person. And I found overwhelmingly that people really enjoyed that. People will email in questions and I'll, do the interview or I'll go on the excursion and I'll, rate it as, kid friendly or this was a lot of fun or it was a lot of work or I give little behind the scenes tours of the theater and the stage manager. So yeah, I just had the idea of cruising is such a big industry now. And I thought I'm already there anyway. They're paying me to do shows. I can literally take 3 minutes and interview somebody and answer a question and provide a fun and cool service for many people.
That's really cool that you decided to do that. I want to say we almost started kind of the same way, but it was a little different. So we had another question come in from Tommy Woods. He said he wants to know where you're going next.
So the next ship I'm going to be on Monday, I fly out and I meet the Royal Caribbean Enchantment of the Seas. It goes out of Miami. I believe it's a 3 day and a 4 day cruise. I'm on that ship for 10 days, so I do three separate contracts. So yeah, I will be on a Royal Caribbean ship for the next couple of weeks. I don't remember my schedule. I think if I remember from last time, I do a late night show, like a 40-minute late night show, and then I do a farewell show. I believe that's what I do. That's my schedule. And again, it's only a 4 day and a 3 day cruise. So they got to cram all of that, a week's worth of activities into 3 or 4 days. So yeah, so the Enchantment comes next, and then after that, I do the Majesty again for 2 weeks in November, and then in December I do the Norwegian Pearl for 2 weeks, and then I get on the Sky for 3 days, the Norwegian Sky for 3 days. So yeah, all over the place, man. And then 2018, I haven't started booking dates yet for 2018. I'm doing some colleges and some theaters, and once cruises come in, I'll put them on my website.
Awesome. So, what is it that you, aside from going around and filming the rest of the crew, the cruise life on the cruise ships, cruise life, cruise, it's two different words, I promise. Anyway, so aside from filming their lives, what is it that you do in your free time on the ships? What do you like to do?
So right now, I am taking classes online. I have a degree, and I always thought my wife has her master's degree, and I just thought, you know what, I have this time. You know, you can take online classes, and so I'm currently working for my master's degree. I don't think I'll ever use it, but it's one of those things that I can easily do an hour and a half's worth of work a day on a ship in my cabin. It's not a big deal. I can log onto the internet, submit my essay or whatever. I do a lot of writing. I wrote a one-man show while I was working on Carnival, and I basically I worked it out while I was on Carnival. It was one of my late night shows, and then when I started doing theaters, I cleaned it up and made it a family friendly show. And I now tour that show at theaters and performing arts venues. I'm painting a picture like I'm very responsible, but there are weeks where I literally play Xbox like 8 hours a day. Okay, so like it don't yes, Don't make it sound like I mean, I go to the gym, but there are days when like I will bust up some Halo, okay? Like
There's
I
nothing
will
fun
play
about the
some.
gym. There's a lot fun about Halo and
I
Wii.
know, I know. I will play, and again, I tell people I have a daughter, I have a wife at home. I never plug in my Xbox when I'm home. I'm 100% dad when I'm home. But when I get on the ship, sometimes I've been to Cozumel 150 times. No offense, I don't want to get off the ship in Cozumel. Okay, I've been to Nassau a billion times. Once they're done building it, I'm sure it'll be a beautiful island. But for now, I've been there. I don't want to go on the streets. I don't want to do a horse carriage ride. It's a very nice island. I don't get so I play Xbox. I'll play Halo. I'll play Grand Theft Auto. I'll do fun stuff. I'll nerd out to where when I'm home, I can be a responsible human being, and nobody knows that I'm Master Chief 5.0 killing people with a shotgun. I mean, that's how I live my life.
So are you telling me that when you get like when your daughter gets a little bit older and she's old enough to play Halo, that you're not going to be trying to be Master Chief 5 point whatever it was you just said,
Yeah.
and
So
trying to
here's the
like
d-
kick back at her in like a in a battle?
So here's the thing. We play little games now, and I don't let her win. I'm not. I mean, she needs to grow up knowing that like life
Oh
is
my
not
God!
easy.
How old is
And
she?
no, because I listen. No, I don't. What is she? She needs to learn at 3. I don't. I'm here to win. I'm not gonna let her. If we're co-playing Halo, I'm not gonna let her shoot me. You gotta shoot me to shoot me. Like I'm not. So yeah, we play games together. And like memory, and she'll mess one up, and she'll be like, "No, I get to go again." I'm like, sister, no, that was your turn. This is my. And so yeah, I mean, it's we joke around a lot, but I tell my wife, I go, if she's a video game player, she's gonna learn real quick that I don't pull punches. I
Oh
mean,
my
we're
goodness.
here to play, and if I lose, I'll take all the trash talk she can give me. So no problem there at all.
One day she's gonna grow up and she's gonna kick your butt at one of these games. I'm sure of it.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
I know it's happening. That's why there's a lot of trash talking going on now. Yeah, cuz when she's older and I'm in diapers and she's sniping me on Halo 12, yeah, I'm going to, and I can't see the screen cuz I'm all old. Yeah, I know it's going to happen. I know she's going to like, I'm going to put you in a state-run nursing home cuz you're terrible at this game.
She's gonna move your
Yeah, and
wheelchair backwards.
that's right. That's right. Put my wheelchair.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Lucas, I know you have a show to get to tonight, so we don't want to keep you for too long. But this has been an awesome interview. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Before we go, I have two more questions for you. One,
gotcha.
before we go, can you please tell people how can people go to see your channel on YouTube?
So if you go, I think it's under funny. Well, if you go to my Facebook, it's just facebook.com/comic Lucas Bohn. I always post all of my episodes of Life Below Deck. Normally, I post them on Saturday or Sunday, depending on my schedule. If I'm on a ship and like we're in the middle of the ocean, sometimes because they're large files, they don't upload. So I'll just upload it when I get back to port. So normally every weekend I post a new episode. They can also if you go to YouTube, it's under Funny Lucas, I believe, and I always post the episodes there. They're cruise ship related. It's called Life Below Deck. If you go to YouTube and just Google Life Below Deck, there is an actual an A&E. I didn't know there was an A&E TV show about a bunch of preppy white people that work on yachts. I'm not those people. I have talent, and my parents weren't Republicans. So I am a comedian, and I work for a living. So my episodes of Life Below Deck are me showing, on a cruise ship where I work. But yeah, if you go to my Facebook page and you see it, it's fun. I think we have like 10 or 11 up right now. And I put one up a week if I can. Sometimes, like, the hurricane throws weird, changes in my schedule because the cruise will get canceled or rerouted, and I'll go to the same place. So yeah, but every week normally there's a new episode up.
Awesome. And Lucas, I know I said I had two questions left, and I wasn't lying when
Okay,
I said that. My last
alrighty.
question: can you please do me a favor? Could you do the
Yes,
Elmo voice?
I can do the Elmo voice. Okay,
Yes.
so here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Emma would like to tell you to tune in every single week to CruiseWeekTV to see all of my favorite friends. Okay, Bert and Ernie are going to be there, and Bird and Charles. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. So make sure you tune in every single week to CruiseWeekTV. Yay! Okay, Emma loves you.
Lucas, thank you so
Was
much
that
for
good,
being on
Joe? Was it
tonight's
pretty
show.
good?
That was awesome. Thank you so much for being on tonight's show.
Good.
I've had so much fun.
All right.
So, on to cruise news. Royal Caribbean is to extend drink package purchases requirements to all ships in the fleet from 2018. All Royal Caribbean passengers 21 years of age and older will be required to purchase the beverage package if at least one other person in the cabin has one. The new policy comes after nearly 3 months of testing on select Harmony of the Seas sailings. But there will be some exceptions to the policy, which include pregnancy, recovering alcoholics, medical reasons, religious reasons, and does not consume alcohol to personal preference. It is noted that passengers followed the rules of the package rather than trying to split drinks. It may not have changed. The number of people sharing and boasting about it, encouraging others to do likewise on social media, just made it a definite. Whilst not everyone cheated, and the ones who didn't are penalized along with those that did. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Also, cruises to Cuba are to continue despite U.S. warnings. The U.S. State Department issued a new safety warning last Friday regarding travel to Cuba. The U.S. government has warned Americans not to travel to Cuba because of recent sonic attacks on U.S. citizens who were working for the U.S. Embassy in Havana. The attacks caused the U.S. employees to experience hearing loss, ear ringing, dizziness, difficulty sleeping, headaches, and cognitive problems, among other symptoms. But the Miami-based cruise lines are ignoring the warning. Newsweek and the New York Times report that the U.S. has already expelled 2 Cuban diplomats over the attacks and is considering further retaliatory steps. The attacks have been reportedly occurred at hotels as well as U.S. citizens' homes. Because some of the attacks occurred in hotels where the U.S. State Department employees were staying, officials said they were worried that other U.S. visitors could be affected. Carnival issued a statement. While members and relatives of the U.S. diplomatic corps have suffered illnesses apparently triggered by occurrences that the diplomatic offices or possibly their homes, I'm sorry, the teleprompter is totally messing up. None of the more than 475,000 other Americans visiting Cuba this year reported similar health issues related to their visits. Many travel companies suggest that the U.S. warning is overstated. The cruise lines point to the fact that only U.S. diplomats and embassy employees have been victims so far. This show and all the wonderful abilities that we have to bring in guests remotely wouldn't be possible at the level that we do without vMix. vMix is a live production software that powers our live show and many, many other high-end productions, from church services to football games. More and more live productions are running on vMix. And what our producer Bird really liked when he was trying to improve our show was that they give you a full 60-day trial of everything. That way you can test it out risk-free before you buy for a full 2 months. Then they have systems starting at just $350 from there. If you're going to do any sort of serious live streaming, you need vMix. Try it for free at vmix.com today. If you're a fan of cruising on Royal Caribbean ships, odds are you've probably been to Royal Caribbean's private island, Little Stirrup Cay, which is now known as Coco Cay. Just like fans of Norwegian cruise lines have probably been to Great Stirrup Cay. Both Coco Cay and Little Stirrup Cay are part of the Berry Islands, which are a collection of small islands in the Bahamas, about 55 miles north of Nassau, that were a host to a variety of people over the years. Long ago, about 600 AD, the Bahamian Islands were populated by the Lucayan natives and their Arawak relatives. Great Stirrup Cay even had a private hideout in the 1800s when the British settled in Nassau and some of the larger islands. These islands also remained active during the American Civil War for the Confederacy, who still wished to trade cotton with England. During World War II, in the United States, in an effort to protect its eastern shores, the Great Stirrup Cay of the Bahamas became an observational and defensive equipment port. And among these were submersive cables, which were run along the ocean floor to listen for enemy submarines. Two of the cable houses still stand on the southeastern shore of Great Stirrup Cay, if you've ever been there, which is now overrun by jungle. Great Stirrup Cay is also purchased by Norwegian Cruise Lines in 1977, and Little Stirrup Cay, which was renamed Coco Cay for marketing purposes, was purchased by Admiral Cruise Lines in 1985. Following the 1988 purchase of Admiral Cruises by Royal Caribbean, Coco Cay went through a number of changes, including dredging of the east part of the island to create the marine basin where the tenders now dock. The two islands lie within 3 kilometers of each other and now are used solely as vacation destinations for cruisers like you and I to enjoy. So, who would like to go on a group cruise with us in 2019 on the Carnival Horizon? This is being put out by our good friends at Good Memories Travel, and we'd love to get our community on there with us. It's February 23rd, 2019, and we hope to have our entire team on board and be having a blast with you all as you guys enjoy one of Carnival's biggest and newest ships. Now, the entry for the $500 drawing has also been extended, so you can be entered into that when you book. There's a webpage for that, and it's cruiseweek.tv/groupcruise. Let us know what you'd like to see on the group cruise, since we have never, ever done one before. The entry for the $500 drawing has been extended until December 31st, so go ahead and book and join myself, Bird, Matt, and Shally with you all on the ship. And now for the final bits. I want to thank Cruising Cat from RC Periscopers for helping us out in the Periscope chat room and keeping order over there. If you guys want to see a lot of live streams from people on ships, head over to RC Periscopers group on Facebook for a list. And if you guys know someone who's going to enjoy watching the show as much as you guys, be nice and share this link to their Facebook wall. That way they too can enjoy. Also, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just doing that really helps our show and shows our sponsors that we have the support, and it helps keep our show alive each week. Also, thanks everyone for coming in. Matt is going to be back next week, but keep an eye out Wednesday for me and Bird, we're going to be attending the RC Periscopers meetup in Orlando. We'll see you guys next time on Cruise Week TV. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. See you guys later.